This story contains content about suicide. If you're having thoughts of self-harm, please consider skipping this episode and seek professional help.
The day I went to kill myself was, I won't say like a month ago. My buddy had been actively texting me and trying to like edge me away to go meet up with him and talk to him. And he told me when I finally like gave in and went up there, and I was ashamed of where I was, and I was so out of it. My buddy sat down in front of me. He looks at me and goes, "Hey man, when you're like this, you can't think rationally. I'm gonna be the one who thinks rationally for you." And then he locked the fucking car, wouldn't let me leave until the rest of my friends showed up, and they were all, I guess, driving around the city looking for me. And then they all surprised me and they took me out and they tried to like help me talk through things. So like I owe them everything. Like they are without a doubt my best friends. I fucking love those guys.
The guy that I was interviewing, when I told him about my brother, he said like, we were talking about how young it is to kill yourself at 24, and like how fucking hard life is at 24 too, because you're like trying to put something together, but like it takes so long to put your life together. At 24 you fucking don't have that. You have the foresight to know that it's gonna get there, right? And so like
the shitty in-between spot.
Yeah, you're at the shitty in-between spot, right? Because even if you push super fucking hard your entire life, like, like say you go to, you're 4.0 student or whatever, right? And you go to college, like you do 4 years in college, right? You're graduating when you're 22, right? You get hired right out of the gate. You work for 2 years, right? Now you're 24, right? And you're probably still like best case case scenario, your parents paid for college, but that's pretty unrealistic. So you're probably like 30 grand still in debt by the time you're 24, and you're making like 60, 70 grand a year, right? That's fucking best case, right? Like best fucking case, right? For I think like the average middle class American, right? And so at 24, like you're in a fucked up situation. Your 30s gonna be better. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I think 30s is. But
I also think that, sorry to cut you off, but
yeah.
To piggyback off your thing about life being hard at 24, I think the biggest factor in why that is because your entire life you're told figure your shit out by 18.
Yeah.
But that's not a realistic goal.
I'm 27 and I feel like it's gonna get better.
I feel like people around 29, 30 years old finally have their shit together, and even then, like, if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. And I feel like that's the other thing too. There's so much in life that could fucking happen that just throws like you off course. So maybe something else you don't know is I had 2 people in my family commit suicide, and like every time I get depressed and it gets to that point, right? Because I'm not actually committing suicide. Like maybe I'm thinking about it, or maybe I have a plan or whatever, right? But every time I get to that point, I feel so bad for my family members that they felt like that, and then some, like, and then some more, because if they actually kill themselves, like, they have to be feeling, like, worse than what I'm feeling, right? And so, but I was talking to somebody else that made a suicide attempt, but they were obviously unsuccessful, and they said, like, when they went to kill themselves, right, there was, like, no tears, there was no sadness, there was no anything. They just felt like resolve, like the complete and uttermost resolve, like, oh, it's finally over, it's finally ending type of thing. And I thought that was super interesting, because I always figured that everyone's like last moments would have been fucking like tears and fuck this shit type of thing.
The 5 stages of grief all going off in your mind at once. But
yeah, I thought everyone would have just left kicking and screaming, but then like hearing his where it was just like fucking crystal clear, like melody, and the guy tried to hang himself, and it didn't work out. And so
the sudden serene soundness, if that makes sense, where your mind feels at ease and you're ready to go.
Yeah, and I was just like, fuck, man, like if like hopefully that's what my family members felt instead of the way I
the way that you felt it.
Yeah, the way that I felt it, right? Because, like, that just sounds, I mean, in a way better, but in a way worse, too. Like, knowing that you've gotten to that point, but, I mean, I don't know.